I went foraging again, but this time in our own pasture, which is a very big area, about 2.5 acres, and walking around on the perimeter, which is where all the fun things grow. Oh, there's a mosquito. It takes a long time. Oh, so let me show you what I found. I found a lot more goldenrod, which is wonderful. There's a few more marigold blossoms in the bottom down there. I think I'll just put that all together. Now this is some type of a myrtle. We have a lot of swamp myrtle. There's something also called a bog myrtle that apparently is a very good dye plant for getting green. So I'm gonna stick this in a pot and soak it a nice long time and see if I get anything with just a little bit of wool. Okay, we're back over our pots again on the stove. I think I'd better record this before I forget what I've done. Okay, so this pot was a big old heaping amount of goldenrod. And I didn't cut the flowers off as much as last time. I left more of the stems and some of the leaves on. So we'll see if that makes a difference. It looks very dark. There was a lot in there. There was more out in our pasture than I thought. And the wool that's in here is the wool that I dyed in the comfrey bath, okay, that really didn't do much at all. It kind of turned it a pale gray. I was looking for a green. That wool, I think, was not mordanted. And so I did put it in an alum bath for a couple hours before I just put it in here. Still looking pretty pale, but I just put it in there. I'm probably going to leave it overnight. Just let it soak, soak, soak. We'll see what we get. Okay, just as a refresher for the goldenrod in that pot, if you use the plant tops, now see, this color is not quite, this looks like very much brown. It's a little greener in the book. So I think that what I got out of that pot, the old comfrey that I then put in goldenrod, is going to be closer to one of these two. I did use a mordant with the alum, and I did add iron water to it. And I think that's why I got something so nice. But honestly, I must have had more of the flowers because I'm getting more of a color like this. Yeah. Let's go look at it. And here is that beautiful green. It doesn't look as green. Oh, cameras drive me crazy. It's a bit darker than this in real life. But this is that old comfrey that did nothing. And then I put it in the goldenrod with the iron water. And I got a really beautiful green. I'm so excited. It's an olive green. I wish I could get... Maybe if I take it outside, you'll be able to see it. That's a little bit better. Oh, I do love that. It's really quite green. There's no mistaking that color. At last I've gotten a green, and from goldenrod. I'll be able to get as much of that as I want. Well, in the fall. Okay. Yay! Isn't that beautiful? And over here on the other side of the stove, I have a pot with what is hopefully bog myrtle. It is some type of a myrtle, but there's lots of different types of myrtles, and not all of them will die. This has lots of leaves and some stems, so I was going for the tannin in the stems, which acts as a mordant, and so I probably won't pre-mordant the wool I put in here. I didn't put a lot of water in here. I'm trying to make it nice and strong. I'm not going to put a lot of wool in either. I think maybe that's one of my problems, that I've been putting in too much wool by weight to how much dye stuff I put in. We'll see. Okay, so again, I'm going to leave this overnight and then put something in there tomorrow. There's a pot upside down on top of another pot. Now, what is in here are the myrtle leaves and a few twigs, not a lot of twigs, so not a lot of tannin. And this is one of those pots that has a strainer in the lid, so I just turned it upside down in order to strain out the dye liquid. Now this dye liquid, let me see if I can get rid of that glare, is quite dark. Let me get a spoon. Let's see what it looks like in a spoon. It's a beautiful amber color. There's not a lot of it because I didn't want to overextend my dye stuff in a huge bath. And then I'm going to put, not much, maybe a teaspoon of my iron water in there. But let's check Jenny Dean's book first. Okay, bog myrtle or sweet gale. I don't know that this is a bog myrtle, but it is some type of a myrtle. I used not just the leaves, but the leaves and a few twigs. So I'll probably get something between these two. Maybe not as much of that mauve. I'm using the dye stuff. I am using a mordant. I did decide to put my wool into an alum bath. So the mordant is this gray little bucket. And then I am adding, if I add, let's look down here. This is what I should get as the dye bath is now. This is what I'll get, supposedly, if I add the iron water. Now, I just know from experience that my dyes never turn out as rich or dark as this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add the iron water and see if I can get something a bit darker than this, more like this. Sometimes it's a little hard to take that beautiful clean white wool and put it into what looks like a mucky cesspool, but it's not. Now we will leave this for a nice long time, probably overnight, maybe even all day tomorrow. Like I said, it's not a very deep dye bath. I may have to come in and rotate this wool around. I did put a little bit more water into those bog myrtle leaves, and I'm just going to cook it again and try a teeny little dye bath with that. It's not the exhaust water, it's kind of the exhaust dye stuff, and see if I get anything else. Because a lady on a dyeing group on Facebook showed pictures of a dye bath she did with willow, and she put, I think she used leaves, and the first dye that she did, the wool turned out just kind of a pale yellowish, very pale. Almost didn't look like it had been dyed in the photographs. And so then she poured off the water, the dye bath, took the dye stuff that had already been used once, added more water, and did it again, and she got this beautiful rusty red, not even a deep pink, it was more of a rusty red, like a barn red. And that was very exciting. So she got that on the exhaust dye stuff. Anyway, I'm going to heat this up just a hair, just the teeniest bit, then turn it off and let it sit. Today you have caught me with my hair wet. It's Sunday afternoon, and I want to continue my adventures with dyeing with myrtle, whatever kind of myrtle this is. And I looked back in Jenny Dean's book and read about pH because I wondered whether I would be able to adjust the color of this dye bath with pH. Some dyes are very reactive to pH agents like ammonia or apple cider vinegar, but others are not. And so I thought I would do a little experiment. This is what she recommended. It's a very small dye bath. So I've got 3 little strands of white wool. I'm going to put all 3 of them into this dye bath, and I'm going to leave one in there. See what it does. These are the leaves that I've already used once and got that kind of deep gray yesterday. I'm going to see what these leaves do, if there's any difference, since they've already been through a dye bath once, and these are kind of the exhaust leaves. And then I'm going to have 1 measuring cup that is going to have water with ammonia in it, and another measuring cup that's going to have water with vinegar in it, to see if I can get an acidic or an alkaline effect. And so I'll leave one of these strands in the dye bath, put one in the acidic and one in the alkaline bath, and see what color it does, and we can look at it together. Won't that be fun? I did decide to pre-mord these with my usual alum to try to just see if it would help, just in case there were not enough tannins in that in the little bit of bark from the myrtle, and that the tannins may have been lost in the first dye. So I just want to make sure I've got some kind of a mordant in there to help the color attach. Well, using those myrtle leaves a second time didn't seem to do much for my dyeing. This is it did give me a pretty pale yellow. That wouldn't be bad. And then I took one of the 3 and put it in a solution of ammonia water. And it darkened a little bit, but not a significant difference. And then this is a little bit of the wool that I then, after the myrtle, I put it into a vinegar water. This is acidic, this is alkaline, and then this is just regular. So, and these 2 are still more wet. You can see there's a little bit of darker, but not much difference. So I think that's probably because it was the second use of the leaves. So in this pot, I have a whole lot more fresh leaves and twigs from the myrtle. And in this pot, all the bugs are flying away, trying to get out of the water. This is another pot of the goldenrod and some of the marigolds that I also picked. And I might do that experiment with the ammonia and the vinegar on this, and see if the goldenrod is more reactive with these pH modifiers, because it didn't seem like the myrtle really cared much. It didn't seem to react at all. Now this is boiling now. I'm gonna let it boil for just a minute, then turn it down, and it'll probably sit for a day and a half. This is my last goldenrod dye bath. There's a little teeny bit of marigold in there, just about 5 blooms. But what I've done is I've also got, after I've had that in there for about an hour or so, and it was pre-mordanted with alum too, then I've got a little container of water with ammonia and a little container of water with vinegar. So I've got an alkaline and an acid, and we're going to see, I've read online that goldenrod is sensitive to pH changes, and so I want to see if the color is altered at all. It's a very nice yellow, a little darker than what it's looking like on the camera. We'll see. Okay, it's only been a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I think you can tell that this is the color as it's come over the pot. And it does get some darker, definitely. It's also wetter, but I think it's definitely darker in the ammonia bath. I like that kind of, maybe I should add it to everything in there. This one almost seems to have gotten lighter. Now it looks very white on the camera. It's definitely not that. I think we have terrible lighting in here right now. But it hasn't gotten darker like this one. I think I'm going to put ammonia in the pot and dye all of it dark like that because I really love that richer color. Look at the beautiful result on that goldenrod with ammonia added. Instead of a bright lighter yellow, it gives you a really deep gold. Isn't that beautiful? A little bit of EM still in there. That'll be very nice to spin.